Hello, welcome back everybody. In our previous clip I showed us our design for this segment. I showed us that we are going to be developing this beautiful, nice looking website. It's a 3-page website with home, services and so on and about us. So I will dive straight to our code editor, our preferred code editor for this learning process is Visual Studio Code. So now we are starting the project from the scratch, from the basics. And since we have kind of graduated to the CSS level 2, it is time we begin to do, or it is time for us to begin to follow the standard practices, right? So we are getting matured in coding, so it is time for us to begin to, to follow the standard rule. Now, I created a new folder called CSS level 2. So you have to create a new folder yourself, and you name it as CSS level 2, right? Okay. Now inside the folder called CSS level 2, I created 2 additional folders. One of them I call it CSS, and the other one I call it image. The reason because in our project we made use of CSS and we made the use of some images. Don't forget, before now we have been doing all our projects just putting everything on the same folder. That is not the standard means, right? But I needed to groom us to this level. So how it is being done, the image we have a separate folder, the CSS will be on a separate folder, while our HTML files can be on the same parent folder with the other subfolders that we have created. Hope is clear. Currently now the folders are empty, there is nothing inside. So I am going to be pasting the images that we're going to be using for this training, the 4 images, the logo, .brush, .jpeg and so on. So I can collapse this inside our CSS. Because the CSS is currently empty, I'm going to be creating a new file. I'll create a new file and I'll call it style.css, right? And we enter. So our CSS now is currently having a file called style.css. So now we are going to be creating new files now, new HTML files. Now if you notice what we have here, we have three pages. That means we are going to be creating 3 files. So we have about, services and home. That home, when creating the file, we usually call it index, right? So I'm going to be saying index.html, right? Index.html. and now take note, I don't actually want the index.html to be inside of our CSS file. That is not what I want. I want them outside. Yes, move. Good. So this is what I want, right? This is what I want. So I'm going to be creating now this index.html is going to serve as the home page, right? So I'm going to be creating another file and I'll call it about.html, right? I'll enter. I'll create another file and I'll call it services or services as the case may be .html. Alright, I enter. So we have created our folders and we have created our files. In the next clip we'll start from the basics, which is from the CSS. The index.html is for the home page. That is a conventional way of naming the home page file, right? It is usually named index.html. Don't forget, we want to follow the standard practices now. Is that okay? And from our next clip, I am going to be copying and pasting code. Since I have done this already, in order for us to be kind of very fast and to make our development process optimized, so I will just copy code and I will paste, then I will explain. Is that okay? So we have done this. Do this as well. In our next clip we'll start writing the code. Thank you everyone. See you in just a moment.